Imagine for a second being able to buy a home for the same price that your parents or even your grandparents did. Now that sounds like science fiction to most Americans my age or younger, but it is reality today in Japan. Prepare to have your mind blown. After adjusting for inflation, the real cost of housing in Japan has not changed since 1974. Let me just repeat that so everyone understands. Since 1974, the real cost of housing in Japan has not significantly changed. These values are adjusted for inflation, which gives you a more accurate idea of the costs compared to incomes. By comparison, the real cost of housing in America looks like this. That's a 240% increase since 1974 and a 60% increase just since 2010. Now, Japan has a huge population, a big housing market, lots of demand, but the cost of housing there has not skyrocketed like it has here in America over the last 30 years. And there's one big central reason. Japan builds a crap ton of new housing. That is the technical term. Let me just show you what I mean. In 2017, Tokyo built more housing units than New York, Los Angeles, Boston, and Houston combined. In 2018, Japan built 1 million new homes and apartments. That same year in the United States, we only built 1.25 million, even though our population is 3 times as large. Over the last 10 years, Japan has built twice as much housing relative to its population than the United States has. And the result of building so much new housing supply is that the cost of housing in Japan has just never spiraled out of control like it has here in America. Now, if you're wondering, there's no rent control in Japan, there's no limits on investors buying housing, and there are very few limitations on density or height restrictions. There are basically very few legal restrictions on Japanese housing development at all. Compared to the United States, small local NIMBY groups have very little power under Japanese law to block new housing development, and it's much more common for older buildings to just be torn down for new stuff rather than preserving them forever. It is both easier to build new stuff and much harder for a tiny minority of people to block it in Japan than it is here in America. Now, obviously, Japan is a very different country with a very different history and cultural context and all of that. But Japan is also a large, wealthy democracy with a market-based economy, just like we are here in America, so maybe there are lessons we can learn. Namely, what people should understand is that high housing costs are not a force of nature. They're not inevitable. They are a policy choice. And the choices we're making now result in high housing costs, and the proof is all around us.